Hey, what is going on, Street Fighter 6 YouTube community? More towards the newcomers or the modern control users than the pros, or veterans on this one. So, on my Rashid video, I got a comment by a YouTuber by the name of Bulbasaur about modern control schemes. I'm wording might be a bit weird, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that this maybe is a question of like layout and what I recommend. When it comes to modern controls. So obviously, just like anything else, like any keyboard and mouse game, and whatever lets you rebind stuff these days, it's always nice to know what it is, especially for Steam, because Steam does have like specific profiles for certain games when you play on a pad. Like, hey, this button layout is actually better than the default. So having options is nice. So I have 3 different control schemes that I have set up, and the default, so technically 4. I'll say right now, one of them isn't like crazy different than the default control scheme, just like 1 or 2 buttons are swapped out. But I have up here, I didn't want it to be too like clunky, so I left it down here this time. 3 controllers that are probably the most commonly used in fighting games. So we have a leverless. This is specifically the Snackbox Micro. I bought this at Evo this year. Alongside a couple other goodies. Hop on Street Fighter 6, everybody. The aid pad. This specifically is the Xbox Series versions of their controllers. Semi-tiny side note. Best controller Microsoft's ever done. If you ever want a pad for PC games, if you don't want to use keyboard and mouse, I'd say get this. I can't speak about PS5s. I've heard their D-pads are a little odd and a little squishy, and don't feel too comfortable for fighters. This is a great D-pad. I think this is one of the best controllers Microsoft has made so far. Actually put this over here because I'm going to use that later. And then we have a traditional fight stick. This is one of my fight sticks. This is the Quanba Titan. This is their mid-range stick. This is PS5. Only thing different that I have on this one is I have Hayabusas in here instead of the Sonwas that it came with. Different little clear white ball top. Stick is still the default Sonwa. This is what I predominantly used at Evo this year. But the one thing in common is that they always have 8 buttons. Whether it's the controller having 8 buttons, obviously with the four main, and then the four back here for triggers and bumpers. Same thing. 4 buttons. How do you want these laid out? Now, like I said, it's always going to depend on the person, on how you want to have that controller layout. So what I have, like I said, what I have here is I have 3 set up, and default. Out of the box modern. This is how it's going to feel for you when you plug your pad in and just get straight to it. So that's what we're starting off with, is default. So default's not bad. I honestly feels the best on controller. We have, in order, it's always going to be the 4 on top and then the 4 on the bottom is how we're going to do this. Light, special button, parry, drive impact, and then on the bottom, medium, heavy, the auto button, and throw. That's how it defaults. On a controller, it's so much more natural. Light, medium, heavy, special, parry, the auto button on right trigger, DI on left bumper, and the throw tech on left trigger. This is a good control scheme. For controller, this feels like absolutely perfect, honestly. Good control scheme on perfect. Or on controller, sorry. Does also feel nice on here too. It would take a little bit of like getting used to, just because light and special are here, but you also have the added benefit of having the special input very close. But again, that's if you don't want to do any keybinds. That's the beautiful thing about doing a keybind. And I'll show you here in a bit. So nothing to say about that one, nothing too special. pretty across the board. Custom 2 that I have set up here is actually the way I have my Marvel set up. My Marvel controllers preferred. Marvel has your 3 attack buttons, the special, which is the launcher button, and your 2 assists. So pretty similar here too. The top buttons as follows: light, medium, heavy, and then the 4th is auto. So you can always have it here on your pinky. The bottom, special, drive impact, parry, and then I have it set up as 1 button super. This is honestly what I would recommend. Outside of drive impact already being 1 button on classic, I would have supers on 1 button too, to have those 1 button supers on tap. And it's mostly just because if like you're playing, you know, some shimmy game or something like this, and your opponent's like gonna like, oh, they hit a button, you can like almost like instantly react and get some like hardcore damage if you want to do that. I think this is a pretty comfortable scheme, and it's mostly down to the fact that it's the way that I think the auto button is positioned perfectly for combos. Like just having it here on your pinky is nice because you can just like press it down enough to get enough pressure for it to be able to like do this like pretty easily like during combos. It might be weird sometimes. Some people don't like genuinely use their pinky to like press buttons. So it does feel a little awkward, especially since like if you do, you know, obviously if you do this, sometimes your ring finger moves too. But this is I like this. I think it's comfortable. I might actually try this out for modern when I play casuals or maybe doing some like battle hub stuff. You know, I would subjective on what you want to have your stuff as. If you want to move your DI and your parry buttons, if you want to move, you know, instead of 1 button super all the way here, you can put the drive impact here and have the 1 button super here. That would definitely be something you can do as well. I think that's comfy, personally. Now, this is what I was talking about. Custom 3 is pretty similar to default out of the box modern. So I'm not going to go over it too much. This is still light. This is still medium. Specials here instead of heavy, and then heavy's up here. So basically, the Y's and the B's are swapped. So instead of special, this is heavy. And then this is going to be your special. Everything else is basically the same. In terms of the button layout, like I have this set up as taunt because I didn't think it would work. But you can set that to the 1 button super as well. But for the most part, everything is in the same spot. So it is a generally very lightly different default. What I would say too, and I didn't set this up mostly because I just kind of thought about it before I went to bed. Usually, you know, with this being light, medium, heavy, and special right here, you can also swap them if you want. You can always do light, medium, heavy, and then have special on your A instead. And everything else is the same because the bumpers and the triggers, I think what defaults to these, besides throw, maybe do 1 button super here, it's very comfy. Like, you don't have to worry about doing anything different. But if you were to wanted to have, like, you know, triangle instead of like an upside down triangle for your attacks, I would definitely say maybe that would work out too, and have A as your special instead. Especially if like you play like Smash style, where if you want to not claw but like have your fingers up top, or Tekken. I play Tekken like this on pad. I usually have my fingers up here and my other finger just flat like normal, and then be able to press stuff like this. But yeah, no, having that as an option is also great. But this one's not too special. Modern 4 is the last one. This is similar to like my Guilty Gear setup. I usually with Guilty Gear there's like punch, kick, slash, heavy slash, and dust. I have usually punch, slash, heavy slash here, kick is here, dust is here, and that's usually what I have comfortable. But what I have here, like you've already seen, I have light, medium, parry, drive impact on the top 4 in that order. Bottom, heavy, special. This is auto right here, and then 1 button super here. Definitely kind of a lot of hands moving in terms, especially with the auto button. What I would maybe recommend if you wanted to try this kind of control scheme is use your ring finger for it instead. It might make things like Ken's run a little awkward, specifically with him, just because medium and heavy is the run input. So it might make it a little weird. But I think this is a pretty, I don't want to say like this is a fine control scheme, but this is kind of just another different option if you don't want all your attacks up here, and you want 2 up here, 1 here. You know, obviously strengths be damned, but I always maybe say light should always be like up here, easily accessible. But yeah, those are all the control schemes that I have set up. You know, to recap, custom 1 is just the default. Custom 2, I'm actually gonna do this. I didn't do this before, but I'm gonna do this now. Custom 2 is going to be light, medium, heavy, special. That is auto. I want to say that is, you know what? Let's go back, because I have the memory of a goddamn goldfish, guys. So we'll go back real quick. Yeah, light, medium, heavy, auto up here. Whoops, got that wrong completely. Special, drive impact, auto, or parry, and 1 button super. So that's that one. And you know, custom 3 is the same as default custom, except the special and heavy buttons are swapped, and custom 4 being the light, medium, heavy, you know, that kind of weird Guilty Gear setup that I have going on here. If I had to recommend a control scheme of the ones I've made, I'd maybe say the Marvel style one, just because it has that kind of ease of access in terms of other buttons. You know, having all 3 attacks here and the auto here might be the most convenient thing you can do. And as far as like customization on the controller, I would maybe say the light, medium, heavy. So basically swapping your special button and your heavies to have heavy, or yeah, your special button and your medium. So having medium here instead of special, and then having medium up here just so you can have that ease of access. That's what I recommend. It's definitely not something that should be taken as like, you know, holy word or anything like that when it comes to how you want to play the game. You know, obviously, like I said in the beginning, it's always going to come down to what your preference is going to be in terms of what you want as a layout. You know, maybe you do think that the Marvel style one that I recommend might be, you know, better than playing a default or playing classic. Maybe it's comfortable for you. Maybe you are on a pad and you think maybe the default control scheme is weird. Yeah, you can always leave things, you know, to however you want to have them. But that's what I would say in terms of what I recommend. If you want to give them a try, and this is like specifically geared towards people that have a fight stick that want to play it with modern, rather than people on pad. Because I think, like I said, I think for modern control, straight default button layout is absolutely fine on controller. You know, at most you can just like mess with where you want your, you know, maybe you want drive impact on right bumper instead of left bumper, or you want it on a trigger rather than a bumper. So it really depends. Heck, I mean, some people do the thing of like some of the strengths are on the triggers, and it really depends. But the important thing is you play how you want to play. Don't let anybody stop you. Modern is not a crutch control scheme. If that's what's comfortable for you, then that's how you play your fighter. Do not listen to anybody on Twitter, whether even when it comes down to the most 0 to single digit follower to the top players that complain about modern controls being a crutch and that it's a problem. Don't let them take you down. Play the game you want, how you want to play it. Okay? If you want to play sets, let me know in the comments. If you're willing to learn, I am willing to play long sets. So that'll be it for this video. I'm going to go skedaddle to lunch, and I will see you guys whenever I do the next one. And, you know, Aki comes out in autumn, so you'll probably see me there. And maybe I'll upload some sets here and there. You guys take care. Have a good one. Keep grinding.